Now, the word content or contentment doesn't appear in this scripture, but it's kind of obvious that Jesus is describing a contented life versus a discontented life. First of all, the questions posed here are good questions. Of course, you should ask, what are we going to eat? Otherwise, you're going to stuff yourself with Tim Horton donuts morning, noon, and night. So it's good that you ask what we should eat. Come on. We should ask what is good food, what is healthy, and what should I drink, and what should I wear? I'm glad you didn't come here thinking this was a nudist camp, but you got dressed up, you looked in the mirror, you put something on you, and here you are. And so these are in and of themselves good question. Where shall we live? Where is a good shelter when it rains? These are good questions. But what Jesus is addressing, he is addressing people. These are the only questions they have in life. This is the summation of what life is about. I call this the living dead. These are the people breathing, living, taking up oxygen, doing all the stuff that living people do, but they are the living dead. You know what I'm talking about. They're working. Why are they working? So they can make more money. Well, why would they want more money? Well, they got to get bread, and they got to get clothes, and they got to get shelter, and then they got to work harder so that they can get more expensive bread and go to restaurants where they charge more for the bread, and they can get more expensive clothes and more expensive shelter, and then they keep even harder at that because they want to make babies so that the same babies can grow up and have the same life summation, so that those babies will learn it is all about work so you can get bread and clothes and shelter. And if you work hard, you start out with little shelter, little bread, and little clothes. But if you work hard, you'll get more and more expensive. And one day you will die, but you will leave after you others who are on the same treadmill. You work to get the bread, to get the shelter, to get the clothes, and so on and so forth. And once in a while, you have a vacation. And at the vacation, you have to buy extra clothes, and you rent the shelter, and you pay a lot extra for bread, and then you go back to the regular cycle of things. And this is the summation of life. You live for Friday night. And Jesus is saying, if that's all you ask, if that's all the stuff you ask, I summarize it, you are a living dead person. Actually, it's a symptomatic of something. You have not discovered what life is about. You don't even know what living is about. You're a living dead person. So what is Jesus saying? Well, I'm just going to highlight some of the things he says. You are more valuable than birds. That's a big one. You are made in the image of God. He's saying to the people, are you at bird level? Are you birds? Or are you worth more than birds? Do you operate like birds, or are you worth more? You see, Jesus is the great psychologist. He knows the human race, and he knows the living dead. He knows what their problem is. He knows that their problem is they don't know why they are on this planet. I think this message of contentment is very much needed in our society today, because we live in a society where there is a tendency, just because of how our society is set up, for people to not feel any worth. You pick up the phone to call somebody, you end up talking with computers. And you put on hold, and then you get cut off 20 minutes later, and you have to redial the same thing again. Come on, there is something about our culture that makes you feel you don't count. I mean, you phoned. They didn't call you, you phoned them. So obviously you have something to say, but they talk to you for 10 minutes. 1 is for this, 2 is for this, 3 is for this, 4 is for this. And then when they get to 12 or something, they say, well, you want me to repeat the numbers? And of course, you got sidetracked between 5 and 6, so you weren't sure, so you had to listen to the whole thing. What did they say? Because somebody just came by and said hi and asked if you wanted a coffee, and then you have to go back again. And eventually, it just goes on and on. I mean, can you believe it? That's the way. Somebody stole something from me about a month ago. I had something, doesn't matter what it was probably worth $200, $300, sitting outside my house. It's been sitting there for a year. One morning I woke up, it was gone. Just gone, and it was a heavy thing. You'd have to have a little truck at least, a little pickup to have a couple of guys lift it up and put it on the truck and drive off while I was sleeping. Gone. I didn't know what to do. I had to think about it. So finally I said, I'm going to report this to the police. That is a hopeless case. You call and then you'd say, is it worth $10,000 or less? Well, I'm figuring, right, well, this is in the 200 to 300 category. I mean, it's way down. If you have to be you have to have 10,000 stolen from you, and that's going to put you in a place where you're worth some attention. Some human will actually talk to you on the phone. But if it's just a $9,500 theft, don't get your hopes up. Well, I called and I wasn't very contented, and I'm saying, well, it's only this much, but the point is the point. Somebody stole it. Yeah, how many ever experienced anything like it? Eventually, I was supposed to go to a website, and I knew, and they said, we'll respond right away. I said, yes, because I got a hold of somebody, so I can't take anything down, but you go on the website. I said, I know you have an auto reply, which says that my case is under investigation. I said, you're just making this up. I'm not doing anything. Forget it. I'm going to believe God for the money to buy the stuff that I lost, and I'm going to tie it down next time.